We are live. Happy New Year. Guess what? Today I have a very special gift. That gift is a meal plan. I know there are meal plans everywhere, and uh, this one is a special one because it is basic, and I thrive as a basic bee. And this is yummy. It is going to support our heart health, our cardiovascular health, our digestive health, our muscular health, and all the things. This is centered around whole plant foods, which I believe is our optimal nutrition, especially for the new year when we have new goals and maybe you've been really frustrated and you really wanted to lose those last 10 pounds or just start a real weight loss journey that is like sustainable and going to actually work. And one that's going to make you feel really good about what you're doing because it's not gimmicky at all. It's really just getting back to the basics. However, sometimes getting back to the basics is so hard. So let me share with you. Okay, so it's called the 3-Day Connect. And what is this for? This is for anybody who wants to learn how to take care of their bodies. So many of us are very concerned and confused about health, about food. How do I lose weight? How do I do it healthy? Why do I have high blood pressure? Why do I have a metabolic disease like diabetes? There's so many reasons why. But essentially, we live in a food environment today that is just riddled with all of these tempting foods that are delicious. However, many of them, unfortunately, do not create health within our bodies, especially when we are consuming them over and over and over again for years and years and years and years. So this is a very simplified meal plan and really can act as a template, some inspiration. You can go buy it like exactly, and it will serve you well. The meals are basic, i.e. approachable. So like just kinds of foods that are very general and far reaching in terms of how people eat. And so here we go. 3-Day Connect. It is a meal plan to take care of your body. So here's a fun fact. The fact that the potato has complete nutrition. What does that mean? It means like I buy these bags of potatoes, I like to steam them, and then I just have them to eat as snacks. I can add them to meals. I can do lots of things. But essentially, what we're looking at is eating starch to keep us full, to get those carbohydrates into our bodies that gets metabolized and transferred into energy. People want more energy. This is the safest, healthiest, I think the best way to do that. We need some veg. We know veggies are good for us. We got to eat our veggies. And we need a little bit of fruit for dessert. So I like to show beans, a little bit of broccoli, orange or clementine. Clementines are in season right now. Ideally, we're eating foods that are in season. This is how you can create a simple meal plan that you love. And that is really the key, is to choose foods that you love, because then you'll actually eat them. Or you can use this meal plan, which is free and in the description for your use. What's in season this year? Right now, it's winter in SoCal in North America. And so carrots are in season, celery, potatoes, broccoli, clementines. These are very basic food products, and you can do a lot with them. But for this week in particular, this is what I'm going to lean into because I thrive as a basic bee. And I enjoy all of these things. Thinking back to, well, we need our starch, we need our veg, we need a little bit of fruit. Where's our starch? Taters. Got to have lots of taters. Where are our veg? Carrots, celery, broccoli. We can also call them non-starchy vegetables, as John McDougall does. And then where's our fruit? A little bit of clementine. So if we were to compose meals just based on this, for breakfast, we're shredding our potatoes and having hash browns, or I love to just slice them up and pan fry them, cover it with a lid so they actually steam and cook through, add a little bit of salt. I love pepper, and that is so good. I don't know why that's so good, but it's just the magic that is the potato. And then maybe have some baby carrots on the side. Maybe I'll like slice up some cucumber because it's nice and refreshing. I always salt and pepper my cucumber. It is so much better that way. Maybe for a mid-morning snack, I'll pop in like 3 or 4 clementines because they're tiny. And then for lunch, you can have, I don't know, mashed potatoes or just a bunch of diced potatoes that are sauteed up with some celery, carrots, broccoli. Maybe you saute all of that stuff up with like a soy sauce mixture with like a touch of honey or maple syrup and some roasted sesame seeds as an Asian meal. Maybe for dinner, we're going to do mashed potatoes with broccoli on the side. I know, super basic. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make something called miracle soup, but that's just an idea. And then for dessert or for a snack on the go, celery sticks, carrot sticks, roasted potato that you take on the run, or clementine. So this, in total, money-wise, dirt cheap. Potatoes are on average 95 cents per pound compared to like almost $25 per pound for like salmon. It's extraordinary. You will laugh if you look at your grocery bill and you're like, okay, why am I only spending like $20 on my entire grocery bill? That's what it can look like when we're eating this kind of food. So in season, not that we have to eat what's in season, but ideally. And that's fun. It's fun to learn about what's cooking, what's growing, and therefore what's cooking. So sample meal plan. Breakfast plate, we got our hash browns. We have a little bit of toast. We got our baby carrots. I like to cut them in half just because it looks a little more appetizing. I got some fresh blueberries. And then I'm taking all of that. I'm making a fried rice with a bunch of chopped veg that we can use from carrots, celery, broccoli. Perfect for fried rice. And then miracle soup, which we'll get into, clementine for dessert. So this is a very simplified look at what we can eat. I am absolutely not going to go hungry. This is what I used to think. Any vegetarians in the house, I used to automatically assume you must be starving because like, I need some meat in my body in order to stay full. That's actually not the case. We need some starch, some taters, some whole grains like brown rice, like barley, like lentils or beans. That's going to keep us full. This is a sample 3-day Connect meal plan. And the reason why we call it Connect is because over these days, when we are eating this way, we are making a vital connection and having this amazing experience where we are paying attention to what it is we're eating and how it is our bodies feel. So inflammation goes down, bloating goes down in the face, in the gut, throughout our bodies, even in your hands. A lot of people suffer from arthritic pains, and magically, a day to 3 days later, their pains are lessened, which is like insane. The body works real fast, really fast. If we're on a weight loss journey, eating a bunch of whole foods, especially whole plants, is going to help you get there way faster and in a healthy way. Get your blood panel done. I encourage you to look at things objectively. I like to do this at least once a year. I'm pretty confident in what my blood panel is going to look like, but every year I just do it out of curiosity. And every year so far, it's been looking great. Everything's falling in the optimal range, and hallelujah. So we're having oatmeal for breakfast, miracle soup, a very quick pasta, and I am going to use a brown rice pasta for the next 3 days. Then we've got our hash brown plate. We've got just brown rice and veg, which I'm going to just call a Korean bowl. It's called a Korean bowl because there's kimchi in there and some really basic Korean flavors. We're having our miracle soup, this time maybe with a brown rice pasta. Back to oatmeal, having some leftover pasta with some fresh basil added. And I'm going to mix up all my plants that I have, make a huge batch of fried rice, and just eat that with maybe some kim, which is like roasted seaweed, definitely some kimchi, and whatever else you want. Maybe just pour in your favorite hot sauce. So that's what day 1, day 2, day 3 looks like. And then fruit for dessert. Now, of course, I'm not saying like only eat clementines. It's not about that. It's eat any kind of whole plant that is a fruit. So we've got some golden kiwis, I've got some bananas, I've got some raspberries, blackberries, and blueberries because, got to pack those school lunches soon. And then batch cook. So these are the optional batch cooking. So essentially, I'm just going to make a ton of rice and I'm going to instant pot my beans and call it a day. I can pre-prep my pasta, but whatever, it's just pasta. Organized grocery list. I like to organize it by fresh, the produce section, the fridge or frozen, anything cold, and then anything dry. So the aisles. Some recipes, and that's it. So that is our 3-day connect. And right now, because we're at the start of the year, the internet is just fraught with all kinds of messaging of my husband and I just had a quick convo this morning about like the fact that all the poor man food is coming out as like, don't eat this. This is what poor people eat and they're sick and all these things and blah, 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 and they're obese. But yeah, you can test it out for yourself and just see. If weight loss is a goal and you want to do like a heavy, high fat keto kind of diet with moderate protein and very low carbs, you will probably see the weight loss. Not everybody sees that, but many people see the weight loss. It is temporary. In the meantime, we're adding a lot of fat into our bodies, but we're seeing the carbs and the water weight drop off, and that glycogen that is like stored complex carbohydrates that turns into glucose, i.e. energy, that is like kind of no longer in our muscles or our liver. So that kind of weight falls off. But then, I mean, who can realistically live without ever eating bread or rice or like a potato again? So as soon as you eat that kind of water weight, that, hidden weight is going to come back, and then you're going to be maybe back to where you started. And then that rice is going to taste so good. You're going to overindulge in the rice and all the things. Yeah, if anyone were to tell me I can never eat rice or bread again, I just would never listen to them again because that's just not something that I want to hear. So I'm not saying, don't ever eat an animal. I am just simply saying that we should minimize that. And so the 3-day connect, because many people love a good challenge, especially in the start of the year. So this is your free challenge. You can make a commitment to yourself to say, for only 3 days, this used to be a 10-day challenge. It's real long. So for only 3 days, we are going to stick to whole plant foods. Go 100% if you can, but go 90 or go 80, whatever it is you want to do. Maybe you've never eaten plants and you just want to do a 50-50 split. Excellent. I say go with that and just see how you feel. I would recommend doing a body scan every morning. Just see how your body feels, like going into this. Maybe I got some back pain. I get regular headaches. Maybe I get regular nosebleeds. I've got some arthritic pains in my joints. And I would recommend just mark off exactly where you're feeling those pains and sometimes even rate it out of 5. How severe is the pain? So then on day 1, you do the same thing. You do a body scan, rate how severe the pain is. It's going to be diminished. It's going to go down. So by the end of 3 days, you might feel very different. And that is just a hint. And that's the beautiful connection that is made. Like, oh, I eat this kind of food and my body reacts this way. I'm nourishing my body this way, and this is the result, and this is the outcome. So having less aches and pains, having greater digestive health, these are all whole plants which are feeding various gut bugs. When we're feeding the good gut bugs, it strengthens our immunity. I don't have to be scared when I go out to public places because it's like cold and flu, and the vid season is rampant right now. But yeah, it's just so interesting when we make that actual connection and we feel so good, then maybe you're not going to decide this is how I'm going to eat every single day for all of my meals. That's fine. But to make that connection And to have that experience is going to help you. It is going to help you. So when people say, like, don't eat this poor for food or like pauper food, okay. I mean, like I say, the best way to learn is to really experiment and test with ourselves. And sometimes on the internets, we get a little bit crazy because we hear two truths and a lie. And whether people are doing this consciously or unconsciously, it's what is happening. So I'm going to serve up two truths that are just so engaging, and it just like resonates so deeply within you. Like, vegetables are good for you, or carbs, if I eat carbs, I'm going to gain weight. This is what we hear all the time. Potatoes make me gain weight. Sweet potatoes are going to give me cellulite. This is what I saw this morning. What's going to give us cellulite is like high fat and probably not moving our bodies a lot and some genetics. But anyway, so maybe those are the two truths in terms of like carbs will make me gain weight. But the lie is like, what kind of carbs? Are we talking about refined carbs and like deep fried French fries and just like durum wheat pastas that are processed and cereals and all the things? Like, so perhaps, yes, if we're eating a bunch of refined carbohydrates, that is a huge difference between a real whole carbohydrate, real food, like these beautiful little baby potatoes. I'm going to add these into what are miracle soup, and they're just so cute, so creamy, so delicious, and very cheap. Heart healthy, great for gut health, great for digestion, great for excreting all the things that we want to excrete from the holiday season and all the rest. So yeah. And then the lie, of course, is they're not referring to real food, complex carbohydrates, or even simple carbohydrates, but any kind of carbs that are coming from a whole plant that is just bound with all kinds of nutrients and thousands of phytonutrients and phytochemicals that are having beautiful reactions with our body. And when we are feeding ourselves that and we're making that beautiful connection, our bodies are being flooded with whatever nutrients it needs the most in whatever capacity, the right amounts and the right locations throughout our bodies. So this is what biochemists say, and it is fascinating. The only work that we have to do is just to get the food into us, right? That's just the only thing. So I'm kind of obsessed with looking at different meal plans and looking at different habit trackers. And interestingly, so many habit trackers are so dense. Like, this information is so dense and it's just so full. And I look at that and already I feel overwhelmed. I just think like, there's no way I'm going to track like 22 things on a daily basis. I just can't handle that. Sometimes there's this pressure. It's a new year. Are you going to be your best self? Yeah, that would be wonderful if I were my best self, whatever that is. That definition is always changing as we grow and we develop. But I'm not interested in being my best self right in this particular moment. I really just want to be an improved version of myself, a self who maintains my beginner's mind and has fun in the process. That is key to keeping this going. So grab a friend and try the 3-Day Connect together and compare your results. And you might be amazed. You might be amazed if you've never done this before. But oftentimes we need a plan. That is key. But yeah, anyway, going back to like the denseness of everybody's habit trackers and stuff, like it's amazing because it's almost as if we have forgotten when we read Atomic Habits, James Clear, like micro changes. Let's say you want to read more in 2024, but you never do. And you've got a mile-high pile of books next year on your bedside table. And what he will say is like, maybe you can put that book right on your pillow. So when you go to bed, it's right there. So in a sense, we're setting ourselves up for success, right? We're doing this little bit of pre-work, and you're going to maybe open the book, read one word, and shut it and put it away. And the next night, in the morning, you're going to put it back on your pillow after you make your bed. And then you're going to read maybe a sentence, and then you're going to put it away. And every single day, you're going to make these tiny, atomically tiny changes. And all of that will add up. It will also get you in motion. And this is what Brendon Burchard says. He's like one of the top high performance coaches in the world, apparently. But he says it doesn't matter how fast we go. Like, we're always in a rush. Got to lose this weight like now, or in like 3 months, or blah, 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 blah. But that's not the point. And oftentimes when we get overwhelmed with mass changes, they become potentially unsustainable, and then we just drop off. So I think the key is to find something obviously sustainable, something that you enjoy, something that you love. Doing it together always helps, and it's always going to increase the chances that we're actually going to finish, and to just do a little bit at a time. I'm a very impatient person. I just always want to dive in, but that never really works, and it never keeps things sustainable. So versus me just doing it this way, it's very different. It becomes very, very different. And so, yeah, that's the 3-Day Connect. Anyway, I think start small. Some food experts will say, like, don't muck up breakfast. Like, don't screw breakfast up, because breakfast is so easy. So start the day fresh, come out of your overnight fast. Not that we're really in a fasting state just because we're sleeping, but let's say you do intermittent fasting. Wonderful. How are you going to break your fast in the morning? If we were to eat wholesome, whole plant foods made from nature, grown with the power of sunlight, grown with all the nutrients that come from soil, that's where nutrients come from, right? Minerals, that's where minerals come from, then wonderful. So on our menu, we have oatmeal as our thing for breakfast. And here I kind of give a recipe for oatmeal. Not that anybody needs a recipe for oatmeal, but some of us do, because if you don't make oatmeal, and I've had this question, how do you make your oatmeal? So follow the directions on the back of the package. Those are always the best directions for that particular oat. And I like to make mine a little watery. I like to add a pinch of salt as I'm cooking it. I like to mix in some cinnamon, some really nice, yummy cinnamon. And then I like to add in a little bit of brown sugar or maple syrup and some kind of a fresh berry. And yeah, that's pretty interesting, right? Or easy. So I have an oatmeal station. So this is what the oatmeal station looks like. It's right by our stovetop. So these are a bunch of oats in a pretty jar, because I think maybe if I put it in a pretty jar, it will increase the chances that I'm actually going to make it for breakfast. And then the sugar is right next to it. So I'm setting myself up for success. Instead of placing a book on my pillow, I'm going to place the oats right beside the stovetop where I walk past every single day, bar none. I've got my fruit on the countertop, so I visually see it, because if it's tucked away, we're not going to think about it. Out of sight, out of mind, right? When it comes to oats, interestingly, it seems like the narrative online is don't eat oats because they might kill you. Many oats are grown with Roundup or glyphosate, which is an herbicide or a herbicide, or however we say that. And yeah, it could be super toxic, right? It could create lots of different issues. Some scientific studies will say that it may be linked to certain cancers, but I guess the conclusion is it's not definitive. So even a conclusion like it may be linked to cancer, I think should tip us off. Like, maybe we should stay away from the glyphosate, not necessarily the oats. It's not the oats, it's the Roundup. It's the Roundup that's being used. So do a little bit of research, find some organic oats that are potentially not using glyphosate or not as much. Dose matters. I like this one. It's a sprouted quick oats. I like it because it's super quick. But then you look at the ingredients, and the ingredients literally say sprouted, organic, gluten-free, whole grain oats. Whole grain oats. We want to see that word whole. Oats are naturally gluten-free, so that's not just like, a health benefit. Interestingly, on the front, it actually says glyphosate free. Interesting. Yeah, so they get it. They get it. So don't eat the Roundup, but don't let that deter you away from oats if that's something that will add to your health and wellness. So this is what I'm going to start doing for breakfast over the Christmas holidays. My intention was to not pack on the pounds and eat to my heart's content. I was going to stay a little bit mindful, and I did. So, but I didn't stay totally mindful because I wanted to enjoy myself. So, a few too many vegetarian pizzas and the like. Not having oatmeal for breakfast. Definitely many more bread products, things that are more heavily processed than my healthy Ezekiel bread. But typically just sourdough. I love sourdough. And it's easier to digest for many of us. Not that I have a problem digesting bread, but yeah, so just pulling things back a little bit. And I don't have a weight loss goal in mind, but if you do, the oats are going to be excellent for that. Okay. They have dietary fiber. They're going to help keep us full. I feel like my sweater matches the oats. Unintentional, but nice. But these things are just beautiful. You could also make cookies with this if oatmeal is not your jam. Some people don't like oats because it's mushy and why would you eat that? I used to be like that too. However, when you get the oat groats or something that doesn't, the rolled oats, I think, are the ones that get a little more mushy, but the other ones that kind of keep their form, I really prefer those. But I don't have those in here. These ones are fine. They don't get super mushy unless I add in too much water and cook it for too long. So they're not always super mushy. If you don't like eating oats, but you want all the powerful benefits of getting these things into your body, you can also try adding it to your smoothie. So add some dark leafy greens, add some berries, add a banana for sweetness. And so it's delicious. Add half a cup of these dry. It's going to change the flavor a little tiny bit. I actually find that it makes the smoothie a little sweeter. It will make it a little more dense, so you might have to add in more liquid, but it's an excellent and such an easy way to get these beauties into us. And then you've got a slow digesting snack that is going to give us all those health benefits. So yeah, start with breakfast. And just like the reading thing, like Atomic Habits, put a book on your pillow and set yourself up for success. The way we set ourselves up for success is to have a dang plan. If we just say, I want to eat healthier and I want to eat more vegetables and less meat, let's say, for example, then how exactly are you going to do that? That is step one in terms of making that commitment. But we need a plan. We need an organized grocery list. We need to have some recipes that we have full intentions of making. When we batch prep, when I cook the beans and they're in the fridge, then it's so easy because all I do is pop it into the Instant Pot. But the benefits are great because the meal is made. So having a plan, doing a little bit of batch cooking. I'm not going to batch cook a lot, really just making beans and rice. But at least all of that stuff is ready. So during the week when it's busy, you don't have a lot of time. All I have to do is maybe steam some frozen veg, add some seasoning, warm up my rice, and, Bob's your uncle. So we got to have a plan. So hopefully that plan helps you. It's free. Go at it, make it your own. If you say, I don't like broccoli, then choose any kind of plant that you enjoy. Well, Jamie, I hate chopping. It takes so much time. It's exhausting. I can't even stand and chop. I have to sit and chop. So sit and chop. There is no shame in sitting and chopping. Maybe you hate it so much that forego the chopping. Just get frozen vegetables. They're harvested at the peak of their freshness. They're flash frozen, and then they're just available for us. We don't have to wash anything. We don't have to chop anything. We don't have to, compost our waste. It's so simple. So give yourself grace and little hacks like that. So anyway, 2 truths and a lie. Just remember that there's just so much on the internet right now that is going bananas over I don't even have to exercise. All I do is eat this and take these supplements and join my program for 3 months and blah, 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 blah. Maybe ask for a guarantee. money back guaranteed. People are flexing their muscles or showing their six-pack abs, and they're like, I never worked out, and I have all these bulging muscles. Like, sometimes we do have to have much more of a critical brain when we're viewing this stuff. Does that make sense? We gain muscle by working the muscle. That's how muscles will grow, right? And feeding them glycogen, complex carbohydrates. So with that, I will touch base along the way. I'm going to put myself through this 3-day connect and track how I'm feeling. I'm feeling pretty good right now, but I want to feel even better. So let's track this stuff. And yeah, just be mindful of those 2 truths and a lie. And if there's anything in your body instinctually that's like, maybe not, then just hold off on that purchase. We don't need to get into something that doesn't work only to be discouraged, because that's the last thing we need right now is more discouragement. So coming up with a meal plan that you love, taking it in bite-sized portions. And that's why it's only a 3-day connect as opposed to a 10-day. If you like how you feel at the end of the 3 days, then tweak that menu, continue making what it is you did enjoy, and just go from there. Yeah, go from there. So happy New Year, and I will see you next time. Bye.